What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel for yet another FM22 rebuild challenge. We've done a little bit of a mini series here where we've been taking clubs from a specific country. So far we've done Werder Bremen in Germany and we've done Malaga in Spain. We've taken a team from the second division of that nation and tried to power them to glory. Now, some of these have historical trophies that they've won and good success in their history. So that's what we're... Nah, that's fucking crap. What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel for another FM22 rebuild challenge. The rebuilds have taken a little bit of a turn over the last couple of weeks. With what we've been trying to do is taking a team from the second division of a top 5 country and trying to take them all the way to glory. But the only way we're going to do that is by signing players of that nationality. If you've missed out on the episodes the last couple of weeks, go and check those out as well. We've taken Werder Bremen from the Bundesliga 2 and Malaga from La Liga 2 all the way up into the top flight, only signing players of German and Spanish nationalities respectively. Today we are in Italy, and as you can tell from the title, from the thumbnail, we're talking about Parma. Now we're taking Parma. They are in the Serie B and we will be trying to see what we can achieve with them. Again, only signing Italian players. So without any further ado, let's jump into it. Guys, before we start, if you are enjoying the rebuild content, please do drop a like on the video down below and hit that subscribe button. There's still over 75% of you guys out there that aren't subscribed to the channel. Hitting that subscribe button will really make a difference. And it's Christmas. It's around Christmas. It's Christmas time. Be festive. Hit that red button. Right, let's get into it. This is Parma. We are taking over Parma. They are at the in the Serie B, as you can see. If I bang this on here, and there we go. This is the division we are in. I'm slightly worried about Pisa because they, of course, have Lorenzo Luca. There are some interesting teams that have been in this division previously, or are in this division now, should I say. Spal are a team that always sort of bounce up and down. Same with Brescia, Lecce, amongst others. Okay, so we're going to take a look at Parma super quick and look at their overview. They've won quite a lot of trophies, as you can see. UEFA Cup Winners' Cup, UEFA Super Cup, 2 Europa Leagues, 3 Coppa Italias even, but they've never made it all the way to the top of the Serie A. What's the highest position? That's a 6th. Okay, that's a 5th. So they've got to 5th in the Serie A in the recent history that I can see here, but they have dropped all the way down to Serie D, and they are sort of on their way back up, and that is where we are going to catch them now. They've been relegated from the Serie A last season, and now it is time to fix them back up. Obviously, I've taken over as control as the manager. The skipper, you may know him, Gianluigi Buffon, looks absolutely insane still if you discount this final third column of physical stats. So this is a club with history. We are predicted to go first in the division. If we take a look at the competition again and take a look at the season preview, 1 to 91. We should be winning this division pretty darn comfortably. I've not signed anybody just yet. As you can see, we've got an arranged future transfer with this guy. He looks okay. He's joining full-time at the end of the season. Obviously, this is the transfer history that has already existed. I won't be adding to this in the first season. That will be a job for the second season, where we try and build our own sort of team. In terms of tactics, you guys, I've been listening to your feedback, and basically we wanted to try something a little bit different. You guys have been saying that you wanted me to use my own sort of tactics in these, and this is the tactic that I used in the FM playoffs. It managed to win me the FM playoffs with the 2 false 9s, the DLPs, the wing backs, and all that sort of stuff. So we are using our own tactic. Yes, it is come from a custom GRFM style, but you know, the tactic is there. It looks Italian. There's 5 defenders. You know, it's got a little bit of everything. So I'm hoping we can get in and do very well. It's been good in pre-season, beating teams in our division and some teams above, and the Parma second team, it doesn't really matter. Como as well, Sampdoria, who we actually have in the Italian Cup first round. We just beat them. They're a Serie A side in the league. So that is it for season 1. We are dead set on being favourites. We want to get back in Serie A. Let's see what happens. End of the first season, guys, does end in promotion. However, we did not win the league. Brescia won the league and came through at a canter, to be honest. They got more wins than us. They lost less games than us. They beat us by 6 points in the end, and we only just tipped Spal into that final automatic promotion spot. Obviously, these other teams, these other 6, go into a playoff. I don't think it's been decided. Yeah, it's not been decided as of yet who is actually coming up with us. But Brescia doing the job. They've still got some good players, I will say. Obviously, they've still got the main man that everybody loves to sign in FM21, Andrea Pepetti. He looks like a very good player still in FM22, and they got Pippo Inzaghi as their manager, which is a bit of a legend, taking them back into Serie A. So the main thing is that we got promoted. I'm not too worried about all the other stuff. Not attacked in the first round by Sampdoria. We had some interesting results through here, doing pretty well against some teams and then sort of falling apart here, losing to Pisa. Lorenzo Luca was on that score sheet. Now we're going into the Serie A. Maybe we could try and prize Lorenzo Luca away. This is a ludicrous game here, 7-4 in that one. We've got 6-3 down here. It's a decent enough tactic. I'd like to build it a little bit more into my image, mold it a little bit more into players that I want to bring into the club. But remember, they will only be Italian. We're going back into the top flight of Italy. I'm going to need to get my head down and make some solid transfers. I'll be back in just a second. Right then, guys, we are back for a transfer update going into season 2. As you can tell, we've started to get rid of a few players. We've got 6.25 million outgoing, and we spent 10 million bringing certain players in. This one, I have to admit, is done before me. This is not a player that I have signed. He doesn't look like a player that I would sign either, because he absolutely dreads big matches. So unfortunately, he joins for 5.25 million. We brought in Esposito, and not the one that you're thinking. Salvatore Esposito joins. This is obviously Sebastiano Esposito's brother. He plays in central midfield. He can be a Mazzala, he can be a box-to-box, he can be a ball winner, he can also play DM. I think he's a fantastic addition. We signed him on a free transfer. His contract was expiring, which is great for us. We also brought in this guy. Again, this was the pre-arranged one that I showed you guys at the start of last season. He can play in a couple of positions for us. He can kind of play as a false 9, which is probably where he will end up playing for us. We signed another free transfer, Nicola Muru. We had fullbacks that were on loan, so we needed to make sure that we had our own players going into this full season. Andrea Conti is again much the same, comes in as a right back option from AC Milan. I believe he spent the last season out on loan. He did at Feyenoord. Was already with us on loan the season before when they were in the Serie A, which is interesting to know. So we've got him back for our return to Serie A. Obviously, things are going to be a little bit more tricky if we go into the competitions tab. Again, not worried about the Coppa Italia in the slightest. The board expectation for us, guys, is to avoid relegation. As you can see here, we've got affiliations with Napoli and Inter, so we may have to call on that at some point in this to try and get some players in for us. So we go into the season preview. We are 300 to 1 to win the division. We are expected to finish in 14th. We are the best supposed finishers, or predicted finishers, should I say, out of the 3 promoted teams. It was Cotrone who came up with us. But obviously we are still a long way away from winning that division title. In terms of the club vision, they're delighted with a few things, disappointed with a few others. They're very disappointed with the finances in a deal to sign Joan Brunetta, who was a deal that was already agreed before I got here, which is great. And they were disappointed with the deal to get rid of this guy, but he's never going to get in the team for me, so happy days. We need to work within the wage budget, which I am absolutely hemorrhaging right now. As you can see, the club is currently spending £653k on wages, and our wage budget is 520k. So I need success this season, and I need it ASAP, really. Obviously, within the end of season, they are expecting us to fight bravely against relegation. They want us to reach the 2nd round of the Coppa Italia, but I think fighting that relegation is going to be the biggest challenge. There are some other teams here: Udinese, Verona, Venezia and Spezia, who are teams that were in Serie A last season, who are predicted to finish worse than us. Let's see what happens at the end of the season. So I'm very surprised. The tactic seems to have worked quite nicely. We have finished Serie A in 10th, guys. We are in the hunt of the big sort of European places, but not quite having it just yet. Inter down in 6th, down in 7th is really poor. Udinese, one of the teams that they actually predicted to be near the bottom of the table in the media prediction, finishing in 4th. So that goes to show you don't need that. You don't need that all the time. Dennis Mann has done very well for us. He is also unhappy. He wants to move to a bigger club, so I imagine Dennis Mann will be leaving us imminently. He played as that striker, as the advanced forward, and got 13 goals and 7 assists in 32 appearances for us, which is pretty good. But ultimately, I think 53 points, 16 victories, 5 draws, 17 losses. Not too bad at all. We were knocked out in the 3rd round by Lazio in the Coppa Italia as well. So all in all, guys, I think very good. Positive first month here, with lots of victories and 1 defeat to Udinese, who obviously did finish in 4th. Obviously we had the World Cup in this one as well. Let's have a look. As people have asked me to do this to show who wins the World Cup. Portugal win the World Cup. They beat France 2-1 in the finals. So we moved on after Christmas and after the winter break of the World Cup. Things got a little bit ropey, but we picked up points where we needed to, really. Just the odd victories here or there, beating Spezia, Verona, Sampdoria, Genoa, Sassuolo. Just these little 1 victories here, there and everywhere was just enough to see us do actually much better than expected. Finishing in 10th is a fantastic return. In terms of finances going into the season, still don't have any. We're in a net debt of 40 million, so that's why we need to start selling some players, and I think this is going to be a very busy transfer window. Transfer update then for season number 3. Dennis Mann has left the club. He has gone to join Napoli. I'm just going to arrange this by fee so you can definitely see it, because I never know whether my head's in the way or not. Dennis Mann has joined Napoli for 14 million pounds, which has really helped the coffers. I can completely state we've done so well out of that deal financially. We're in a much better spot. On the other side of things, we brought in 3 players, 2 on free transfers, 1 on loan. Frank Tazajut is how I'm going to say this guy's name. I've absolutely butchered that. He comes in, he was released from AC Milan, looks physically like a really nice striker, nice mentals, nice technique as well. I think he's basically an attempt at me doing a like for like with Dennis Mann as well. I think Mann is probably a little bit better, but you never know with young Frank. We brought in a centre-back as well, Capellini maybe, let's go with that. He comes in as a centre-back. He was released by... Who was he released by? Juve. So released by Juventus, and we have managed to pick him up, which is quite nice. But then the big acquisition, I mentioned it last time that we had his brother. We've now signed Sebastiano Esposito as well. Inter Milan are a affiliate club of Parma, so I went over to them and I said, guys, thoughts, loan, Esposito, will pay his wages. Cool. And they were like, yeah, fine. Yeah, go and get some game time, Sebastiano. So we are happy to bring him in. I think he is a fantastic option as any of my 3 forward spots. Remember, I've got 1 advanced forward and 2 false 9s in this particular formation. So all in all, transfer wise, I think we've done pretty well. I'm still trying to make some changes here, there and everywhere. I've got players coming in and going out. But in that financial state, we are now covered in the wage budget. We've sorted that issue out and we have a little bit of transfer budget remaining, but I probably won't be spending that because of the financial issues at the club. In terms of the competitions, we've been relatively mixed during pre-season, so I'm not really going to touch on those there. Just trying to get a little bit more cash into the club. If we go into the season preview though, we are predicted to finish 15th, 350 to 1, so worse than last season. So we're going to have to try and do some work here. I do have to call out this guy as well, Lautaro Valenti. He's great. He is fantastic. If you're looking for a cheaper centre-back, I think this could be a guy. Great physically, nice strength, good natural fitness, good jumping reach, great aggression. I think he's fantastic and can obviously develop into a fantastic little player. Lautaro Valenti, I would definitely recommend him. So in terms of the Serie A, 15th, it is what it is, you know. In terms of the club vision, let's see what they expect from me this year. I can't actually remember. They're happy that we got Esposito in. We signed under 23 players, which is good. They're happy with me repairing the financial damage. And this season, they were like a mid-table finish in Serie A, which I'd like to think is possible. I'll see you at the end of the season, guys, to see if it is a reality. So guys, end of season 3, Esposito and Big Frank have fired us to a 7th placed finish, and we will be in the Europa Conference League next season. Big Frank and Sebastiano Esposito with 20 goals apiece. As I said, doing the work there. We got 20 victories in the season, 5 draws and 13 losses. That plus 30 goal difference was better than quite a lot of teams in the division. In terms of goal difference, we were only bettered by, let me have a look, Napoli, Sassuolo, and then the champions AC Milan, who absolutely dominated the division. As you can see, they scored 106 goals. I've got to have a look at this team. I have to have a look at this team. So they got Leao, Colombo, Almeida, Rebic. How has this team scored that many goals? Who scored all the goals? Oh, they've signed Belotti. Okay, Belotti. And Leao as a striker. It's not usually where you see Leao played. Okay. 35 goals for Andrea Belotti. Fair play. How much did they sign him for? I've gone on a tangent, chat. Again, I keep doing that. Gone on a tangent. They signed him for free from Torino, and he comes in bagsman, absolute bagsman. Oh well, fair play, Belotti. But the big news: we are in the Europa Conference League. Fair play. Absolutely happy with that. Finishing above Fiorentina, Lazio, Atalanta. Again, very good finish for us. Ultimately, in terms of all competitions, not attacking the second round of the Coppa Italia again. It's just a competition we just can't seem to go very far in. I don't know why that is. And in terms of the finances, we have a £13.8 million transfer budget to spend. We still have debt. It's only a net debt now of just over 2.3 million. So we are definitely moving in the right direction. I've got, what's that, 30, 40, 50K's worth of wage budget to spend in the end with the committed spending, because we're letting a couple of contracts expire. And £13.83 million to spend for season 4 as we take Parma back into a European competition. Going into season 4, as we said, we are going into European competition, so we needed to be a little bit deeper in certain instances. We've made a whopping 130 quid from our transfer sales and players out. It's bad, isn't it? And we spent 6.5 million ourselves. We bought this guy here, Marco Carencici. Sure, he is a goalkeeper. We needed a goalkeeper, and he comes in from Atalanta. I can't remember how much we paid. £6.5 million for his services. He played 2 games last year for Atalanta, who had a very poor season and conceded 4 goals in those 2 games. Obviously, no clean sheets. He's still relatively young at 24 years of age. Comes in as my first choice goalkeeper and looks pretty well rounded. And fingers crossed he can get better over these next 2 seasons. It's definitely an improvement there. Lorenzo Parola comes in on loan from Inter Milan. Again, I've raided my sort of affiliated club to try and find some cover options. Whilst you can see on the comparison screen on the right hand side, he's not my best centre back. He's a good cover option. He really is, especially considering we're playing 3 central defenders. And we also signed Andrea Piemonte, who's going to play up top. Again, another cover option. We made a couple changes around. We let a couple of contracts expire. Some high profile sort of expensive players, shall we say, they've expired. But the main news is Esposito is back for another season on loan. After an amazing season last year in all comps for us last year, he scored 20 goals and played 37 games and scored 20 goals with 5 assists. So 25 goal contributions in 37 appearances whilst on loan from Inter Milan. So we brought him back for yet another year, and I think you can see he is developing quite nicely. So in terms of the competitions, we are in the Europa Conference League. We do go into the 4th qualifying round we go into. It's currently at the 1st stage at the moment, and the expectation is a mid-table finish again in Serie A. And on that season preview, we are in 10th. They expected to finish 10th with odds of 250 to 1. European competition's a difficult one. I'm really intrigued to see how this tactic gets on in European competition. As I said, this is a tactic I use in the FM playoffs. Fingers crossed it can do well in Europe. It did well in PvP. Let's see what happens. Well. I don't really know what to say here. We finished in 12th in the Serie A, but we won the Europa Conference League. We win that after a 3-3 victory, or 3-3 draw in the final, we go to penalties and you back the Italian team to do the business, and Parma did. All of our players scored their penalties, and this guy Karic missed for Copenhagen. This poor new gen, who actually looks quite good for 17, doesn't he, from Bosnia and Herzegovina. No idea how he's ended up at Copenhagen, but we get there and we lift the trophy, and I'm just curious to see, guys, how that journey came about. So if we go into filtered and we look at the Europa Conference League, this is how we got there. So we qualified relatively comfortably, it looks like, beating Volga 10-0 in one game at home and then 4-0 in the game away from home, so comfortably going through there. Then we have a group with Dundee United, Braga and Shakhtar Silogorets, who are the team who knocked me out of the Champions League in my Red Star save in season number 1, so you know they're all right. Then going through, we got through that group relatively comfortably, beating Braga as well. We beat Astana in the knockouts. Then we had Dundee United again, beating them 3-0 at home, drawing 2-2 up in Scotland. We then had Leicester City. Leicester, we drew 1-1 at Leicester, Patson Daka rescuing that in the 88th minute. Then in the home leg, we win that game 3-2. Big Frank with 2 large goals there. And then we took on Rosenborg away from home, lose that one 1-0 after Conte got sent off by the looks of things. But then we beat them back in Italy 3-1, and then obviously beating Copenhagen in that final. Because of this run though, that is why I will excuse this 12th place finish. It is a mid-table finish in Italy. There are 20 teams, so we are pretty much mid-table. But interestingly enough, we've qualified for the Europa League by winning the Europa Conference League. So this is going to be interesting. Obviously, we've got Frank, who's the big top goal scorer again. I will be trying to get Esposito in on loan, but I don't know whether that's going to happen for a 3rd consecutive season. I imagine, looking at his stats here, Inter are going to want to play him because he looks quite good, doesn't he? And Inter a little ways away off of AC Milan at the top of the league again. Is Belotti done the work again? I've got to have a look. Yeah, another 24 goals for Andrea Belotti. Fair play. What a stroke of genius that is, getting Belotti in. We did try and sign him, but he went to AC Milan, and I can kind of see why. In terms of things, finances for the final season, £25.6 million. It's the biggest budget we've ever had, and we are going into the Europa League. I'd like a deep run in the Europa League, but I kind of want to finish a little bit higher up in the Serie A. Do you know what I mean? We've got some silverware, though, which is amazing. Absolutely amazing. If I go into my job history, it's fantastic. Europa Conference League here. 2nd in the first season, 10th, 7th, 12th. Not too bad, not exceptional, but not too bad at all. I feel the European competition definitely harmed us this year. Let's go into season 5 and see what we can do with our biggest transfer budget yet. Right then, guys, there's lots of players to talk about right here, right now, because we spent almost every single penny out of all the stuff that we had, and we've not really sold anybody. We spent 22 million in the summer into season 5. We are in August 2025. We are trying to strengthen this Parma team as much as possible, get as much depth in as possible so that we can handle being in the Europa League. Starting things off, Nicola Faguli comes in, central midfielder, comes in from Juve. Not really anything overly special, but a relatively consistent little player. Comes in for £1.5 million. Never really got going at Juve, despite a couple of loan spells back at the club that he came from originally. Up next, Caleb Okoli comes in, centre back. Looks relatively solid, nice natural fitness, nice pace as well, good jumping reach, good little centre back. I assume that's probably like 6'3", 6'4", maybe 6'3", 6'2", I don't know. I can't work in centimeters, but it's what you guys want. You guys want the centimeters because so many countries don't use feet. So then we also signed Matteo Lavato. He comes in, another centre back again, depth option. We are playing 3 central defenders, guys, don't forget, so we need depth at centre back. Inter did not let us have Esposito again. However, they have let us have Eddie Salcido, who we've got in on loan. Oh no, sorry, have we bought him? We have bought Eddie Salcido, 1.8 million. I thought we got him in on loan, but we've bought him. Not quite as good as Esposito, who I believe has gone to Liverpool in this save now. So we did some good work for Inter there, getting them some good money. Luca Pellegrini, if you do a save in Italy, it feels like you sign Luca Pellegrini. He always gets released from Juve. And this time he was at Torino and unhappy with the amount of game time or something. So we paid £3.5 million for him. Just again, it's a little bit more cover in that left wing back position. Giulio Migori comes in from Spezia. He is our leading midfielder now. Really good on the ball, nice passer, good vision. He is the man we're hoping that can unlock teams. He came in from Spezia for £3.9 million. Again, nothing astronomical, but we tick things over. We get a little bit deeper in every position. Now, this is the man who we spent a lot of money on. He is a right back. He comes in from Cagliari. He again adds a really good option for us in that right back spot. 7.75 million. As I said, most expensive player that we bought is a right back, which is, well, right wing back in this system, which is not what I thought it was going to be, but that is what it turned into be. So this is the team. If I quick pick this super fast with the best team, this is how we're going to look for the start of this is how we're going to look for the start of the season. The guy in goal that we signed from Atalanta, that is the back three. Valenti has gone on even better from when I spoke about him earlier, and is a elite level defender. Now, to be honest, he is a elite level defender. He's getting capped by Argentina and all that good stuff, which is fantastic to see. Zappa, Pizzella, Cyprian and Maggiore, the sort of engine room, and then the front three up top who are kind of doing the work, and we're going to hope that Big Frank can fire us to another successful season. In the competitions, in the Serie A, the expectation is a mid-table finish. If we look at the season preview, again, 150 to 1, finishing in 10th. They think that the Europa League is going to cost me, and it probably will. And they also think that the Conference League is going to cost Udinese. Again, if they go very far, it probably will. We enter the group stage of the Europa League because of winning the Conference League. So fingers crossed for another good showing in Europe and in this final season in Italy. I'll be back in a sec. So, 5th and final season in the books, and we have secured ourselves another qualification to a European competition. We would be back into the Europa League, having finished 6th in Serie A. A lot tighter this year, but it is a 3 in a row, a three-peat for AC Milan in the league. But yes, definitely Parma doing very, very nicely. 64 points in the league, finishing just behind Lazio, but we are above Inter, Atalanta, Roma, some of the other big teams. As you can see, Europa League didn't necessarily go very well for us. It was relatively tight. We had 8 points. AZ Alkmaar finished on 11, and Villarreal, a very solid team in that competition, finished on 14. That meant we were knocked out into the Europa Conference League. We got to the quarterfinals, but it wasn't to be this time out, and knocked out in the semi-finals of the Coppa Italia by AS Roma. But a very good finish in the league. Absolutely ecstatic with it. Finishing in 6th, 19 victories, 7 draws, 12 losses, 71 goals scored, 53 conceded. Very, very nice all round. And Pisa finished bottom, which is great because they didn't sell me Lorenzo Luca. He went to Roma instead. Ultimately, I think this has been a pretty successful rebuild. The financial situation is looking pretty good. We've got 12 million to spend going into the next season. We've got a little bit of net debt again. It is what it is. It sort of ticks over, but ultimately the financial state of the club is in a much better position than when I took over, sort of in and around here. It went down a lot, and now we've recovered it, and we're making money again, which is brilliant to see. And being in the Europa League again at the group stage will be fantastic for whatever the next season will be. But that will not be with me in charge. If you want to take over this save, the link to it will be in my Discord. There is a channel in my Discord, a link in my Discord channel. Yeah, let's just say that. Whatever, let's get out of here. In my Discord, where you can go and pick up all of the rebuilds that I have done on my channel. You can go in and pick up the save file and take over these positions as you are. Just sack me as manager and put yourself in. Happy days. You're 5 years into the future. Most of the time, clubs are in a much better state. But that is where I'm going to leave things for today, guys. If you have enjoyed today's video, drop a like on it down below. Subscribe to the channel if you are new around here. And until next time, guys, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and I'll see you next week for France, when we have to try and rebuild a French team using only French players. Take care, guys.